introductory video, kind of explaining exactly who I am, purpose of the channel, exactly what kind of, exactly what kind of content I plan to bring exactly. So first off, 27 years old, currently so this is so awkward. This is awkward. Yeah, 27 years old, mechanical engineer, currently working as a firearms product development engineer. I won't necessarily get into the detail of exactly who I work for, but I'm pretty sure the internet's going to do its thing and go ahead and find out exactly who I work for. But yeah, so this is the introduction. Basically, for those of us who are more so on the introverted side, as you can probably tell, I'm a bit awkward. I kind of wanted to do this essentially to kind of document my life from this point out. Kind of grew up, or typically my personality is that I'm not really a fan of being on the internet, nor being photogenic, so forth, and things like that. So this essentially is just going to be a documentary about my life. Obviously, at some point in life, plan to have kids and so forth, and being kind of more so a background character. Essentially, this is what I kind of want to leave, for people to see, for my kids to see, and so forth. But, that being said, welcome to the channel. Don't know if the name is going to stick or not, but this is exactly what I plan to talk about. Engineering, what it's like, especially being a part of the Gen Z. I'm a 98's baby, so kind of on the cusp, I guess you can say. This is so awkward. Yeah. So, I guess a brief little background. Born and raised in New Jersey, Essex County to be exact. Then got my bachelor's in mechanical engineering with a concentration in turbo machinery from the University of Hartford. I'm graduating in December of 2020. I can kind of discuss in a later video exactly what that was like, what the challenges were, and things for people to look out for, especially in the ever evolving, or at least the pace of engineering, and what different jobs entail, what the industry is kind of looking like, how can you adapt, how can you kind of stay on top of exactly what's going on, and kind of give you my, firsthand experience of exactly, for those who are on the not, the best students like I was, and how I've been able to, work for multiple well-known companies. What it's like, what it was like working for said company, and what it's like kind of working for my current company. Like I said earlier, I will not get into exactly the intricacies of what we do or what we have coming up. I mean, I can kind of give you a little bit of details of exactly what the workload is kind of like. But as far as anything, in depth on a deeper level than that, obviously can't, share too much for company, integrity wise. And also, I like working there, so trying to keep my job. So, So that's it. Don't know if I really kind of mentioned this. Obviously, my name's Ian. Call me Ian. That's what it is. Yeah, this is a bit awkward. So the more so the kind of the way I want to kind of have this video come across. I'm a regular engineer, work 9 to 5. Well, my hours are I work a bit earlier than that, depending on when I get in. But I want to kind of get through the the kind of the glorification that might come with a lot of influencers, and certain people who might have a bit of a more of a laid back kind of lifestyle when it comes to being an engineer. And I want to kind of talk about it on the flip side of exactly this is what you're probably going to end up be doing as an engineer. This is how life typically is versus people who have the luxury of being able to work from home and so forth. So yeah, it's kind of something new. I'm quite the homebody, stay inside, kind of that kind of ordeal. Me and my dog, and that's about it. And kind of just this is what the life might be like for a lot of folks these days. It's being an engineer is actually great. There's a lot of opportunities to be able to work with different people, work in different industries. I've kind of bounced around a little bit for myself. And now I'm kind of, here where I'm at. But just, I guess, a little bit of a brief, just to kind of get it off real quick. I bounced around from, one company called Franklin Products, dealing with being a plant engineer. I kind of overseeing, kind of anything and everything involving, machinery inside of the building, or the HVAC systems inside of the company's, within the company's property. And then from there, I went on to a company called Quest Global. They are more of a third party where work gets outsourced through them to complete for larger companies. One being for Pratt & Whitney. I was a structural analysis engineer, basically analyzing jet engine components, doing what we called lifing of parts. When parts would come in from combat, or say from just overall flight testing and so forth, or their duty life, they'd come in, they get inspected. Any damages and so forth that were seen or found on the surface of the components would be then removed, measured, and then kind of what we do is run them through a proprietary software to analyze exactly if the part can still be used or can it be fixed. From there, I went on to a company called TLD, which designs and manufactures ground support equipment for airlines, both on the military, aircrafts, both on the military side and for the commercial side. So, all of if you ever actually been at an airport, you might see those machines that are hooked up to the planes before they take off, or you might see the baggage loaders. You might see the tractors or the tows, that would go ahead and tow aircraft from one part of the landing strip to another to be prepared for takeoff. Primarily, I was responsible for designing and updating what they called air start units or ASUs, and basically dealt with exactly the whole entire design process from start to finish for new products or current products, implementation, and changeovers for the new parts. So dealing with purchasing, dealing with that's my dog. I know, sheesh. You can't have it right now. All right, relax. I got you. Um, I guess I'm just not gonna be able to get this done. But essentially, dealing with purchasing, basically, ref changes, or what we call ref changes within the engineering world, and implementing the changeovers from the new parts to the old parts. The old part from the old parts to the new parts. Being on the floor, helping out the assembly workers, getting parts put in, getting builds done. And this might vary as far as the overall engineering workload for a lot of people. Me personally, I prefer to go ahead and have a job where I'm a bit more hands-on, and being able to see what I design come to life and being able to help out, actually be there and help assemble all the parts and the actual end product from start to finish. And as of currently, for now, I work within the firearms industry now, so I am, responsible for designing and developing new, firearms technologies or new products in general. So predominantly what I've been shifting a lot of my career towards now is being in the more of the R&D, research and development. For those who don't know, coming up with new products, going through the design validation phases, the new test phases, performing, at least within the testing aspect, getting it to what we're going to call the product life cycle, or endurance, for what some people might say, and also overseeing going into initial product launches. So obviously this is a bit of a more of a niche market. Granted, being in America, firearms sell quite a lot within the States. That's something we, for most Americans, we pride ourselves on. So being within the industry and being able to, to contribute to exactly, this kind of culture is good. Obviously, the politics around it might be a bit kind of arbitrary, but for the most part, it's cool. Sometimes tough days can be hectic, so forth, but that just, in general comes with being an engineer, or being more so in the direct product development focused positions. A lot of it takes some adapting to, especially with the pace, and things of that, and things of that nature. Getting in prototype parts, and then trying to test that, going back to the drawing board, validating your designs, and doing everything. So that's exactly what I kind of want to dig into, especially from being in the position I am and actually doing it for a living. Every engineer's job might be a little bit different. You can go into consulting when it comes to being an engineer. You can also go into more so the product development. But most companies, when it comes to product development, it's not always new products coming out. It could be revamping old products and modifying it, or people have legacy, or what some languages are called, like legacy products, that are still being used to this day. So then you might have to support those products that are still being used. So there's a couple of different aspects of engineering as far as on the mechanical engineering side you can go into. When it comes to electrical engineers, computer engineers, theirs are a bit more always adapting, like it's always constantly changing. For mechanical engineers, it can kind of be a toss-up between a couple different things. being that mechanical engineering as a whole is kind of a mix between all of them. You learn different things as you're going through. But thank you for watching. I'm going to end this here. Hopefully this is kind of, kind of sticks with some people, but let me know in the comments exactly what you think. What can I do better? Obviously, I suck at talking. You're going to find that a good amount of engineers also are not the most social. So we have this little thing in my office about just engineers who would particularly get hired at the company are typically very awkward and kind of suck at talking to one another. So it is what it is. But yeah, let me know in the comments exactly what you think. Any feedback. I'm completely open to all of it. This is kind of just a trial run to see exactly how it goes. But like I said, endpoints are essentially just to kind of shed more light on exactly what it's like being an engineer, at least from the mechanical engineering standpoint or the mechanical engineer standpoint. And then, also kind of to document my life, my progression through being an engineer. Like I said, I graduated in 2020, so I'm still a bit new, I guess, to some standards for some people, but I'm now at the point where I'm more familiar with exactly what it's like being an engineer, from going straight out of college to what that was like, and then going into where I'm at now and kind of navigating the post-college to, freshman engineer, and kind of going from there. So let me know. Catch you guys on the next one.